Hey everyone, it's Enchanted. I just wanted to have a discussion on why Gen Z stars are nowhere near as big as the previous generations. I think it's, pretty obvious that the Gen Z stars are nowhere near the levels of fame like Beyonce, Nicki Minaj, Gaga, Justin Bieber, Usher, Rihanna, etc. The common answer to this that I always see on social media is that the stars today just aren't as talented or captivating as the previous generations. Personally, I don't think that these critiques are valid, and many people are just spewing these critiques. They sound kind of like how our parents did with the artists that we love, always kind of talking crap about the next generation of artists. It's kind of like a one dimensional take. One comparison that I always see that really irritates me is sales. So people always look at things so black and white when they're really nuanced. One critique of younger artists is the fact that they can't sell albums, or at least not as much as the artists in the past. And it's like, duh, it's a new time. We're in the streaming era. Streams are more prevalent. And contrary to what many people are saying online, it is actually way harder to sell albums during the streaming era. It may look easier sometimes, and I believe it's easier for them to sell backlog, but it takes 1,500 streams to equal one album sale and 150 streams to equal a song sale. So artists that used to sell huge numbers back in the day, they can't even reach those same heights. So I don't know why people expect newer artists to do this. The only reason why artists like Taylor Swift can sell over 1 million first week is because one, she's an anomaly, and two, she sells a lot of physical albums which her fans collect as merch. Nobody listens to CDs anymore. More people are getting into vinyls, but only a small portion of people buying the vinyls are actually listening to them. Artists like Adele, Nicki, Beyonce, who are famous for pulling enormous first week sales, in the early 2010s, they can't even pull those same numbers in the streaming era. So Adele famously sold 3 million copies first week with her album 25. Her most recent album sold around 800K. Beyonce sold around 1 million copies with her self-titled album in 2013, and her most recent album sold 500K. Both of these are extremely good numbers. 800K and 500K, especially in the streaming era, are really good numbers. But you can see the drop with the music industry transitioning to the streaming age. Furthermore, many of their fans are older and are used to, collecting and buying music. Newer artists with younger fan bases tend to rely solely on streaming. Streaming culture has also changed how fast-paced the music industry is. I was saying in an earlier video how it doesn't seem like artists have eras anymore. Many artists only release like one or two singles before their album drops, compared to 2010s where artists would release like five singles. This meant that artists were able to promote and stretch their albums for years. Sometimes you would see an artist promote a single for an entire year. Now it's just, quick hype singles and they die pretty fast. This isn't the fault of the newer artists, but just the change of consumption from the general public. People have shorter attention spans, and that came with quicker. They have shorter attention spans that came with quicker access to media. The truth is, many people do not care to listen to a full body of work, and they're not going to sit down and listen to an entire album. Artists and record labels know this, and they tend to curate their music to fit these times. I think that social media has also played a huge role in dulling creativity. Many people, as well as myself, feel like the industry sometimes has gotten a little bit stale, a little bit repetitive. The thing is, when artists do try to branch off and try something new, people on social media cannot wait to clown them and trash talk, call it trash, and just talk down on their work, aka Camila Cabello. She tried something new. Lots of people might not mess with the vibe, but you see how she tried to step out of her comfort zone and just got slammed. And I think we've noticed that artists nowadays, they're constantly teasing music a lot more than they used to, trying to give a feel for if people mess with their, project or not. And then we see that, if it gets too much backlash, they end up not releasing it at all. And I think that dulls the music industry even more because the general public does not know what they want. We might hear something and not like it at first, and then it might take us a couple weeks, and then we're like, oh, I get it. But artists aren't even stepping out of their comfort zone because they're worried about the backlash that they're going to get online, especially with how strong narratives are. Once a project gets labeled trash, or there's enough commotion on social media with people just downplaying the project and talking ish about it. I mean, it people wouldn't even they just listen to the noise. If they might not even give it a chance to listen to your song or project just because they see the narratives that are floating around online. Social media has also had a bad habit, I think, of bringing down artists once they peak too high. I've seen this trend where people on social media, they support an up and coming star until they reach a certain point or get too popular. Once they start getting too popular, they start, looking for things. They start digging up old tweets or trying to find anything to make them look problematic and spread hate to try to, kind of plateau them. I noticed this first probably with Jack Harlow. That was probably the most prominent one where Jack Harlow, a couple years back, he was the it boy. Everybody was talking about him on Twitter. It was like he was in every other post. He was all on Stan, Twitter. I would say this started probably around the Industry Baby eras when he started rising to prominence. I know he had some hits prior, but Industry Baby really made him prevalent in the pop landscape. And I know he had White Man Can't Jump, which was a really good look for him from a marketing standpoint. It wasn't the most well received movie, but it was a good look. He was on a high, releasing multiple hits, and he had a number one solo. Then his album dropped, and everybody turned on him. It was like one tweet was like the first tweet, and the album really wasn't well received, but I would have never expected him to fall from grace like that, where now everybody, once one person says something bad about them, now it's like, oh, I've always known that Jack Harlow was this or that, or I've never liked Jack Harlow. Like, it's people just switch up so quick. It's so crazy to, witness in real time, especially seeing how hyped he was. It's like, what was the issue? And I feel like it might have to do with, people hyping up an artist until they start passing their favorite artists, uh, album sales or, different metrics. And now they kind of start getting a little bit competitive. And, that's kind of when they start driving these narratives that they don't like the artist. He was still able to, tour successfully with his fan base, but it seemed like he lost a lot of general support. And I see this happening with lots of like social media influencers more so, where they get really popular and then all of a sudden a tweet comes up or just narratives start forming where they're getting nothing but hate. It is funny. It was a funny thing because I saw on Twitter that people were saying that the same thing is going to happen to Sabrina Carpenter. She's had two huge hits right now. She's going to release her album, but just how Jack Harlow was, where he was having hits and peaking in popularity, that's when people go and try to, bring you down, find something. So I wouldn't be surprised if Sabrina Carpenter, someone digs up an old tweet or video or something to just use against her to bring her down. The main reason why today's stars don't feel as big as they used to is because media as a whole is just fragmented and niche. There are rarely songs where everybody knows. I know everybody talks about like, we look at the top 10 of the current era and everybody's like, I don't even know the number one song. I don't know this song or that song. Nobody listens to radio anymore. Everybody listens to curated playlists where they don't have to sit and wait on the radio station for their favorite song to play. Streaming culture as a whole has taken over traditional media. Because of this, artists can't market to huge demographics of people by appearing on TV shows that everybody watches or have their songs play on a radio that everybody listens to. The only people that still consume this media are people, outside of the target demographic, aka, people that are 40 plus. This results in many artists struggling to capitalize on being able to promote to a broad audience and connect with the general public. All in all, I think we need to stop saying that artists aren't succeeding like they used to due to talent. It is a different musical landscape and it's ever changing. In previous generations, like, I don't know, the 1300s, when music wasn't consumed as much, we wouldn't judge those singers back then based on, how much they sold. It was different metrics, so it would be silly to compare sales when they were probably getting tipped in gold coins or something. You know what I mean? Artists these days are trying to utilize what they can to grow with this market, which unfortunately means less A-listers, quicker music, shorter album eras, and overall more microwave artists. But this isn't reflective of their talent. But these are just my thoughts. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that, we'll ever see artists that were as big as they were in like the 90s through the 2010s? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like and subscribe, and see you guys in the next video.